Sorry. Amar of Kahana. Sanhedri Sharo Kulam Lechayva Potronoso. My taima came in the Gemiri Halonas Din Leme'avid Leizchusa Vahani Sulo Chazile. What does that mean? Zakt Rashi. Kevin the Gemiri. Kevin the Gemiri, since we learned the boy Halonas Din Beperakayu Bodkin, since we learn that you can't just kill and execute a person unless you sleep on it, and the Mechayvim have slept on it and were able to decide and to cross-examine in their minds whether or not their decision and verdict is correct. Shem lo matzu lo schus yaim rishon malina no solo machras shem yimtzu lo tamei schus. So what's the problem over here when you have a unanimous Sanhedrin and what there is no tam haschus and what everyone was mechayev? So then what's the din? Potronoso. What would you think that means? Potronoso. So again, it's a little bit ironic. It's not intuitive. You have a unanimous bezdin, and there's something different about this unanimous bezdin. I was speaking to someone about this din of the Gemara that there's this funny Gemara. The Gemara says, we have to elaborate what the Gemara says, and I'm being very ambiguous for a purpose here because it's fascinating. The Gemara says, Sanhedrin Shara Kulu L'chova, where everyone agrees and all the Dayanim, there's no rove, everyone is unanimous, 23-0. What? Potronoso. So I would have said, what does Potronoso mean? He walks free. He has a ptur. Why? Because of Alana's din. My time a cave and digmiri Alana's din lema avleis chuso v'hani sulo chazile. And since over here, what? They're not going to see Alana's din. So what? So therefore, the dinim of dinei nefashos are missing. Alana's din is part and parcel of the process. If it's not shaykh to have Alana's din, you can't cheshbin because there is no cheshbin. Everyone said l'chayva, so then you're going to be potter. It's a fascinating, before we get into the details of this, a fascinating maretz chiyas on this Gemara. Mamish halacha l'maisa. Listen to this. You hear these things in the news, and you just think like, you have a knee-jerk reaction. Someone does something crazy, and someone does something horrible, horrific, and you hear these lawyers that get on and start defending these people that, and you're just like, what defense is there for? Why are we even involved in the process? Listen to them, smaretz chiyas, mamish nogeya to such a crime. If you look at the Oitzim Mefarshim in the back, the boxes, I don't know if everyone has it. It's just kedai if you have it to just use in the other Gemaras. It's kedai just to take a look at this. You have it on in there? I think you have it. In the back of the Marsha, it's the boxes. It's a real insightful maretz chayes. You have it? It's after the Marsha. Right here. Now just go to Yud Zayin. You see it? Tet Zayin, Yud Zayin, you have the maretz chiyas. Maretz chiyas, right here. Okay. You have it, Mark? Yud Zayin. Maretz chiyas. You have it there, Ethan? That's it, right? No?
These boxes, Yud Zayin.
No, that's the Kovis Farshim Alam Marsha. Here. Yalkum Farshim. Yud Zayin. Yeah. Listen to this. You have it, Jerome? Okay, so use the next thing. I don't think it's in the old Gemaras. Nira be'enai. You hear what you think? Bechol davar, everything in the world, yesh tzladim l'schus, al pi ofanim rechoikim. Whatever there is, whatever you want to, you're sitting at a table and a person brings up a topic, there's a way to defend it. There's tzadim l'zakos and there's latzilum and ha'aynish mavis lemar ulai lo ha'ya'az sichlo bar. A person could say, what's the automatic defense that he wasn't working with all of it, he wasn't fully there. Sichlo bar b'chaser deya hine ein al pu'ulaso mishpat maves. You can't put him to death. Ukedai meshar it's natzlos rechoikis. V'chein ra'inu hayom. Listen to what the Maharatz Chiyas is saying. B'tzarfas in France. Uberitanya. Maza. Britain. Britannia. Shenosnin. I thought it was like some. Yeah. Right. It's like where Moshe writes air conditioning. Right. Shenosnin lekol paisheya umayred v'retzeach sanegar. Look what they do in Britain. They give every murderer an automatic defense attorney. Liton avuro lishtado batzaloso. In order to defend him and to help him out. Afim osa ara yoiser gedoyla. Even if everyone can't believe what type of avla this person did, and everyone is screaming, you're going to give him a defendant. Ubeshar makoymes nog ki ashoiftem heima hamelitzin achoifsin achar schus v'keven de bezdin ze ro miyad. So says the Maharatz Chiyas. Listen to this. V'keven de bezdin ze ro miyad lechoiva. Since this Sanhedrin, everybody voted automatically right away without any tzad schus, without any opportunity to give this guy even a long shot of a defense. And it was unanimous, and not one dayan came up with this pshat. Imkein muchach, sagt the Maharatz Chiyas, this is pshat in the Gemara. Muchach de bezdin ze ein bekiyim ve'ein dinam din. Oidu echlitu amishpat b'mehiris b'li'iyan. Either they're not qualified, or they didn't think enough, because this is a Maharatz Chiyas to really go into the Yom Noraim with. Everyone has a tzad schus. Ubeli bikar ubchina, and they didn't really examine well. Umizeh yitztak hamaymer hasheni. And says the Maharatz Chiyas, unbelievable. The Gemara, let's flip for a second, hold on to this pshat. But I want to, before we get back, let's just see the next line of the Gemara. He says, Amar de Kapshat. He connects the Gemaras. The Gemara we just said Sanhedrin, Amar Rav Kana, Sanhedrin Sharo Kulam Lechayva, Paitrinoso, he's Potter. My time Kaven the Gmiri Alanas Adin, since we have a din that you have to sleep on it, and these can't see it, so then you can't be Makayim, the din of Alanas Din, so he's Potter. So he's not qualified for din and nefashis, he can't be executed. Zok the next memra, Amar Rav Yochanan, Ein Moishivim b'Sanhedrin, Ela Bali Kaima, Bali Chachma, who is part of the Sanhedrin? People who are tall, people who are wise, Ubali Mara, people who look impressive, Ubali Skena, and people who have experience, Ubali Kshafim, V'yoidim Bayim Loshen, Shalotahei Sanhedrin, Shaimas Mipiyam Meturgaman. Then the Gemara says, Amar Rav Yudam Rav, Ein Maishi, we'll get back to that line. Ein Maishivim b'Sanhedrin, Elamishi Yodea Letaris HaSheretz, Minat Torah. You have a sheretz. A sheretz is tameh. The psukim in the Torah. But a chacham sometimes has the ability to, create, in a shas adchak, there's one shita, he has the ability to create an argument to be metaris hasheretz. So the Maharatz Chiyas, that's exactly the connection in the Gemara. He says, you're right, this guy looks like a villain, a murderer. But you know what? There's a reason we put on the Sanhedrin a guy who could be Matar Hasheretz. A guy who could take something that looks obvious and show that it's not so obvious. And you need to have one guy on the Bezdin that could create the argument that, you know what? A sheretz that to us looks like the most tummy thing in the world, itaka might be tahor. And then we're actually going to, maybe, and then we'll see, maybe there is a tzad schus over here. Maybe we can't save this person's life. Maybe it's not so pashut as we thought. Maybe there is something to defend. Says the Maharatz Chiyas, the din of hakol, bezdin shekulam danim l'chayva, Paitronoisai, is because now you don't have a dayan that's mitaris hasheretz. You don't have a dayan that's looking in the opposite way and now giving another argument. So there's something around. This Maharatz Chiyas isn't saying it, but especially in light of Negias. He doesn't say one of these options, Negias, politics, all these other things. When there's an unanimous, there's God, says the Maharatz Chiyas, I'm sniffing something else over here. What? Suddenly everyone just no question, no one asked any question. Kulam chayavim, says the Maharatz Chiyas, something's makulkul over here, and it's brow. I wanted to say a different pshat in the Maharatz Chiyas. I want to say a pshat that this can't be a halachic bezdin, because there's never been a Sanhedrin that every dayan agreed on something. So a raya that every dayan is agreeing shows that it's not a Jewish bezdin. So pocher no so miyad. So the Tais HaRosh and this Gemara, very small Tais HaRosh. I didn't copy it, but just listen to the wording. You're not going to believe it. Mamish, we just said again, Sanhedrin, that it was unanimous that everyone learned b'chayva. Poiter noisai, you let him off the hook. Why? Says the Gemara, because there's no halanas hadin, there's nothing to deliberate, there's nothing to go back and forth about. So memela, you can't be mekayim din and nefashos. Good. That's the pashup pshat in the Gemara. Listen to this Tais HaRosh. Perish Rabbeinu Meir. He quotes from the Rabbeinu Meir Alevi, the Ramah. Sanhedrin sharo kul lechova pocher no somiyad. Listen carefully. Mimarin lahargo miyad. Kimo Amar Einu Nishba Poitra Noisai. Kalamer Mimarin also lifroa kedei shelo yachzer bo. Sometimes Chazal use the lashon of poitrin not in a lashon of ptur and exemption, but rather take it away right now. Poitrin noisai, like Kepatish Yefaytze Sela, that we Rachis Mayim, the Paiter, your Paiter, the Mayim from the Evan. You knock him off. You Paiter in Moisra. Exactly. You have a machloikis between all the Rishonim and the Tais HaRosh B'Shem the Rameir Alevi. That what? Is the din that a unanimous bezdin. Maharatz Chiyas is saying svaras of something doesn't smell right. Something's wrong over here. You have to always have a tzad, something that we want to bring ourselves with Yomim Noroim, with this pshat of the Maharatz Chiyas and the other pshat. Rameir Alevi, we don't want to bring that to Yomim Noroim, not at close. He's saying Adarab Avadara, but it's a good read. It's actually intuitive. Poitrin, I say, it's a little tough with, another pshat in the word poiter, but he says, what's the pshat with halonas adin? How do you read the Hemshah the Gemara? According to the Ramah Levi, my taima. What's the reason Poitrin say? Which according to the Tais HaRosh is what? Why do we kill him right away? The opposite of what we thought. Kaven digmiri halonas adin lemevi zchul levahani sulo chazalei. So therefore, what? What's he saying? What's the Gemara saying? According to the other Rishonim, the reason why we pater him, right? So according to the other Rishonim, the reason why we pater him is because this is not shaykh l'din in nefashos. Halonas adin is part and parcel of the process, and you can't have halonas adin over here because there's nothing to think about, because everyone voted to be mechuyev. According to Rameir Alevi, fakert. Poitrin miyad. The Gemara is asking what? Why don't we delay it a little bit? Says Rameir Alevi, what do we need to delay it for? There's nothing to think about over here. There's nothing to even sleep on. We all agreed. So Poitrin miyad, the Gemara is giving a tam why we don't need halonas adin. So it's fascinating. Another machlokes, in addition to what? To this machlokes of whether or not we're patering him or whether or not we're killing him, which is a scary machlokes rishonim. Yeah, I mean, this could come up, like a Sanhedrin that fully agrees. It's also a machlokes fundamentally if halonas hadin is fundamental to the adjudication process. Meaning, according to all these rishonim that are saying that he's pater, that's because it's not enough for me to be makabel edus and for me to make an initial decision. Chazal said that part of that decision has to be al pi din through a halonas hadin process, and you had to sleep on it, and only then could a psak din be justified. The Rameir Alevi, in order to say his pshat, and now learning in this pshat in the Gemara, is saying halonas hadin is only a practicality. That if there's a tzad schos, so then let's make sure that everyone's going to sleep on it, and we're going to make sure that there's halonas hadin. But it's not a necessity. And if there's no practical situation that halonas adin is shayach, so you don't need halonas adin. It's not part and parcel of the process. So you see, halonas adin is only when it's shayach. But if it's not necessary, so it's not part and parcel of the adjudication. Yeah.
Come on, right?
What?
So we'll not say, we have an ads.
Yeah, kill him right away. Yeah. Because B'nai Noach, we'll learn later. B'nai Noach you can kill with one dayan. So there's, yeah. Yeah. So the Rambam, in this halacha, you could also flip in the back of the red Gemaras, they have the Rambams. They put the Rambams in. All the way in the back. They have the Ein Mishpat and the new Gemaras. I don't think in Eitan, I don't think they put in yours. Yeah, they have it? Yeah, exactly, right. Oh, that's true. I should have said that. I knew that. The Oz Vahada, they put in everything. So if you look in the Rambam in Hilchas Sanhedrin, Perek Tes, Halacha Aleph, so the Lashon of the Rambam is like this. I don't know what Girsa. I'm curious what Girsa you have. Because the Rambam in the Frankel says like this. You have it, Eitan? Yeah. Perek Tes Halach Aleph. Sanhedrin shepaschu chulim b'dinin nefashos tchila. So first of all, he throws in that language of tchila. What does that mean? Means if originally there was a machlokes, but when the vote came, it was unanimous, so then the din of our Gemara doesn't apply, which would make sense according to the Maharatz Chiyas. Meaning, let's say they had Kabbalah say this, right? And then before they got the tally, and everyone just paschu tchila, they said, "Oh, the guy's chayiv." So then, whoa, relax a little bit. What's going on here? But if, it sounds like from the Rama, but if what? No, originally they were going back and forth, and then it happened to be that once we collected all the votes, everything came out unanimous. Maybe the lashon of tchila sounds like then that Rambam wouldn't be as problematic, and one could understand based on the other svaras. But the problem is that if it's totally on halanas adin, it shouldn't matter as long as at the end of the day the psak din was unanimous. So then what? So then why should halanas adin? Unless you'll tell me no, because it registers in Bezdin, right? And what I'm asking is, if you're going to medayik this lashon of tchila, like the Rambam throws in, which is not in the Gemara, that it meant that if this guy who ultimately voted chova, and ultimately it turned out that 23 dayanim all voted chova, so then what? If he originally had a vote and he was expressing that it was the schus, so then it sounds like the Rambam would say, oh, then we can kill him. So what I'm asking is, why should that be? Lamaisa, you still don't have halanas din, which the Gemara said it's totally on halanas din. So you'll argue, you can maybe argue to tell me, well, no. Maybe the Rambam's telling you it's shayach halanas din when a guy was kvetching a tzad schus, meaning you saw this guy, and he, at the beginning of the case, actually was saying that maybe you should be mezakeh him. So a type of guy that even in the end of the day, he voted lechova, but he had a tzad schus, so maybe halanas adin is shayach to such a guy. So maybe one could say like that if you're medayik the Rambam tchila. V'amr kulin chayev, harei ze poter. Ad sheyesham miktzas mezakim sheyahapchu b'schuso v'yirbu amachayvim v'achar kach yeharik. Until you have miktzas. It's fascinating, by the way. We spent so much time, a long time ago, speaking about the concept of rov and how rov really emanates out of the concept of Bezdin and really hilchos kashrus and bittul barov and holchan achar rov. All of our halachos of Yeridea really comes from Bezdin. So now at the end of the first parak, mamish at the end of the whole parak that discusses Bezdin, the parak tells us, by the way, not only is rov the source, but in certain situations, rov is essential. Meaning, if you're not going basar rov by a Sanhedrin, guess what? This is not going to work. Achrei rabim lahatos, in many situations, is not only a chiddush that the Torah was telling us, by the way, you can be mekel and go basar rov. No! Rov is necessary. Rov is the only way to dan. Unanimous is not accepted. Sanhedrin shedanu kula l'chayva paitronoisai. You need miktsas. You need to be mavatal l'miyad. You need them to have a deliberation. It's unbelievable. Rove is necessary. So was that your girsa? Everything was read? Okay. So if you look at the Radvaz and the Lechem Mishnah have the following two words as their Dibra Maschel. Sanhedre Gedoyla. Means yeah, exactly, right. Yeah. So it's a bigger right. So that's the question. So let's go to what Mark said. So again, let's just point out what this girsa is saying. The Rambam, according to that girsa, which is not the Frankel's girsa, which already questions whether or not this was the Rambam's girsa, because Frankel is usually the place to look on the authentic girsa of the Rambam. Says the Radvaz had a girsa and Lechem Mishnah had a girsa that what? That it was Sanhedrin Gdoila. So Mark pointed out that it's a little bit harder to have such a situation. So then, Mark, according to what you said, which I agree, so then if the Rambam would want to teach me the bigger Chiddush, what should he teach me?
Smaller one.
Right.
Because it's easier to find.
So if Mark is right, it would lead me to say that the Girs of the Lechem Mishnah and the Radvaz is telling me that this is a halacha only by Sanhedrin Gdoila and not by a Sanhedrin Dana. And if that's the case, then the Rambam would hold, in the case of Dinei Nefashos, okay, a case of, we learned, if you were donning in here Nidachas, or you were donning a Kohen Gadol, whatever, where you need Ayin Aleph, or you were, whatever it is, then you're right. If you have unanimous, then we're going to pater them, according to the Rambam. But if you have 23 unanimous, so then he would be chayav still. Right? So comes along the Or Sameach, and he holds like that. Or Sameach writes on this Rambam in Hilchos Sanhedrin, Perek Tes Halacha Aleph, Zok the Or Sameach. Sanhedrin Gdoila is in brackets. Zok the Or Sameach, Kach Hir Agirsa B'Dvus Venezia. The Venetian Girsa is with Gedoila. Migdal Oz V'Alecha Mishnah, and we can add on to that the Radvaz. All these Gedolim had that Girsa. So what's the pshat? So says the Or Sameach, he says, okay, you have the din of the Gemara. So this Bezdin, something's wrong with this Bezdin. They all voted L'chayva, not kosher v'yosher, fine. Says the Or Sameach, we have another chiyuv over here. There's a chiyuv of a biyarta or a mikirbecha. So okay, this Bezdin can't judge it because halanas adin is not going to work over here because they don't have a tzadschus. So says the Or Sameach, what? But there's still a mitzvah biyarta or a mikirbecha. So therefore what? Go to another Bezdin. Make sure another Sanhedrin, I don't know, take him to another town and let that Bezdin take care of it. Says the Or Sameach, that's exactly what the Rambam held. You're right. Paitronoi say what? Yeah, this Bezdin can't kill him, but we have to send him to another Bezdin. And this Bezdin, and if that Bezdin can't figure it, there's another Bezdin. So what happens when you went through all the Batei Dinim, and all the Sanhedrins were cool and Mechova, everyone is voting him now. So where do you go? You go to Sanhedrin Gedoila. Says the Or Sameach, that's what the Rambam held. The only time your mamish going to be stuck and there's not going to be anyone above us is the Sanhedrin Gdoila. So that's what the Rambam learned. Sanhedrin Gdoila, Shalom Dukul L'chova, which is not as Shayach. It's much harder to come. That's a situation where you can't go to anyone else. So the Or Sameach, that's a situation where you're going to become Potter. It's a fascinating suffix in the Minchas Chinuch. The halacha is that we'll learn in the third parak that if a person is Malamed Schus, he had a vote for Schus, Eina Chayzer Malamed Chayva. It's one of the dinim that the Gemara says, V'yitzilu ha'eda, the Mishnah in the fourth parak has different nafkaminas, 10 things that are different between Dinei Mamonos and Dinei Nefashos. We had this. Where we had this? We had this by an Eni Yodeya. That the difference between Eni Yodeya by Dinei Nefashos and Dinei Mamonos. That since in any, since by Dine Mamanis you could be Chayzer Bein L'Chayva Bein L'Schus, so therefore in any Adeh is not going to be the same as Dine Nefashos. Dine Nefashos, Malamed Schus, Ein Malamed Chayva. So therefore, once you said any Adeh, you can't be a Dayan anymore because you can't change your psak because you're the Tzad Schus and you're any Adeh, so therefore you can't be Chayzer. So that was one of the Chilukim to Dine Nefashos, Dine Mamanis. Listen to this fascinating suffix of Minchas Chinuch. You had a Bezdin, and they voted unanimously l'chayva. And we're going to go with the Pashup Pshat. Voted unanimously l'chayva, not Sanhedrin G'dayla. We'll go with the classic Pshat. Even a Sanhedrin Ketana, even 23 Dayanim. They voted unanimously. So what's the halacha? No alanas din. Pashup Pshat in the Gemara. No alanas din. Pochner. So the guy's put. Then a guy comes back and he says, whoa, 1 second. I have a tzad schus. So, Frek the Minchas Chinuch, can he now be Malamed himself a schus? So now, in every other situation, a guy would say to me, what do you mean? I'm trying to be Mazaka the guy. What do you mean? I have something that I think the guy's innocent. So what do we tell the guy? He says, Minchas Chinuch, be quiet! You're going to kill him for the guy. He said, what do you mean? I saw he's a tzaddik. He wasn't in this town. He wasn't even around. I know he would never do such a thing. I know. I have a tzad schus. So now what's going to happen? He's going to vote the schus. That's going to kill him. You have a tzad schus that's actually going to get the guy killed. So Minchas Chinuch is mesupok. Is the halacha of a malamed schus, a malamed chayva, chayzer malamed schus, will that apply to a din where there is a halacha of poitronoisai? Is it a halacha, what's his suffix? Is it a halacha in the gavra, in my stadim, that we look independently of the case, that there's a tzad chova of the case and there's a tzad schus of the case? Or do we look at it mitzad the verdict and the consequence on this guy? And you can't, I would say, since the Mishnah learns as a din of Yitzilu Ha'eda, so ultimately if your tzad schus is going to be killing this guy, he can't be choser malabid, so it's against the din of Yitzilu Ha'eda. But it's a fascinating thing, we think. It reminds me of the famous story with the Chafetz Chaim that you can't say Lashon Hara about yourself. You can't say Lashon Hara even if mitzad schus. Why? Because it's going to lead to a tzad rice. You see, even sometimes saying the best thing, it could sometimes be a dangerous statement. It could get a guy killed, if we talk too much. So, fascinating suffix. Fine. Let's go weiter. So Gemara says, let's go back to what the Maratz Chiyas we learned when we were in the Maratz Chiyas. 3 lines from the bottom. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ein Moishivin b'Sanhedrin ela balei kaima. It's just a fascinating Gemara that the Gemara takes that these people have to really look impressive. They have to be tall. Ubali chachma, they have to be wise. That's understand. Ubali mara, they have to be good looking. They have to have good looks. Ubali zkena, zikna. Now, this can't be taken literally because the Gemara says later on the Sanhedrin can't have people that are too old because if you're too old, you lose your achmanas. The Gemara says, if you're too much of a zaken, you don't have a zakena. So it means people who have experience. That's what the Gemara means. Fine. Ubalik shafim. What does that mean? Ubalik shafim. So says Rashi. Lahames machshefim haboitchim bekishveihem, people who are now being judged and they know how to do witchcraft and they're being judged for their witchcraft, but they have the ability to rely on the witchcraft, lihinotzel midei bezdin, to now escape from the bezdin. V'legalos, and also says Rashi, legalos ala machshefim hamesisim medichim b'chsheim kagon hamitzriim. And also you want to know whether or not it's real kishuf or it's not kishuf in order to judge it. So it's fascinating. The first pshat in Rashi is you have to do kishuf in order to counter their kishuf and be able to actually judge these people. Maybe not to be afraid of it? What?
Maybe it's not to be afraid of it?
Right. Right, so that they don't instill fear and that they're going to do something to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So that even if you do something to me, you can make me invisible, but I can make myself back visible or something like that. Okay.
Some command.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Something like that. Okay. But it's just fascinating that they had to know Kishuf, and according to one shot, it was to counter the Kishuf of the people that they were judging. Fine. V'yoidim ba'ayin loshen. And the Sanhedrin has to know 70 Lishonis. In Yana D'Yoma. Why is this in Yana D'Yoma? I think we mentioned this briefly on Shabbos. Mordechai knew the language of Big Son Viseresh because he was a member of the Sanhedrin. So he knew 70 languages. So that was right. Shalotei Sanhedrin Shomea. So what's the reason you have to know Ayin Lashonos? Why do you have to be Baki in 70 languages? Shalotei Sanhedrin Shomas Mipi HaMeturgaman. Because if not, what's going to happen? You're going to hear from the Meturgaman. So says Rashi, Mipi HaMeturgaman, Kishaboyim Eidim Loyazim, when the Eidim that are speaking another language, Lahoyid, Bifneim, Lo Yitztarchu Lahamid Melitzim Beneim, Dahavalei Eid Mipi Eid. What's going to happen? You're going to have translators, an interpreter. I had this in the case of a Gerus. Like Pasha couldn't understand, so a person, I can't remember where he was from. I think he was speaking Spanish. So we couldn't understand what he was saying. The person had to come in, and we're a Bezdin, and the person had to come in and be a Meturgaman. So Rashi says, what's the problem? Because if the Eidim speak another language, they don't speak Hebrew, they don't speak the language of the Bezdin, so what's going to happen? So you're really hearing this through another person. So that's a problem of what? Of Eidus, right? This week's Parsha, V'hura Yada. Person has a chiv im lo yagid v'nasa avono. Person has a chiv to give Eidus. You have to give Eidus yourself. You can't send a shliach to give Eidus. You have to give Eidus yourself. If you send the shliach to give Eidus, what's the problem? What's the psul? Mipi Eidim v'lo Eid mipi Eid. It has to be from the Eidim and not Eid mipi Eid. So anytime you're going to have a translator, it's going to be Eid mipi Eid. But if you look at the Gemara in Makis, the Nemuki Yosef brings another pshat. Exactly what you said, Adi, originally, before we saw Rashi. What did you say? What was your original pshat? Why you can't rely on the Meturgaman? Because the Meturgaman might change it. Meturgaman might change what the language is. So that's a concern that we want to make sure that we have all the facts. So Rav Moshe writes a tshuva that he was discussing being Masader a get, where the husband didn't speak the language, and he was going to, and the sofer didn't understand the language, so now he was going to get a tzivoy habal through someone intermediate that is not going to know the language. So Moshe says, well, what's the status in the tshuva? He just says, what's the status of Eidus in front of Bezdin? There. What's the status of Eidus if you had Eidus through a translator? So Allah Lamaisa. Is it considered Eidus? Is not considered Eidus. Says Rav Moshe, nafkami number one, can the Eidim can they change after it's registered? Once you have the din in this week's parsha, im lo yagid v'nasa avona, the Gemara says kevin shehigid shuvei nechozer umagid. Once you register your testimony in Bezdin, you can't change it. So it says Rav Moshe, what's the din with a translation? Is it halacha that what? That once there's a translator, what would you say from Rashi? No. I could totally change it. As long as all your information from the Bezdin was what, says Rav Moshe? Through a translator, there was no Eidus that was registered in front of Bezdin. There's a psul called what? Eid mipi Eid. But says Rav Moshe, Nemuki Yosef, that had to come on to another reason. That maybe you're going to be machlif and we're concerned whether it's going to be accurate. Says Rav Moshe, apparently Nemuki Yosef held through a translation, that is actually considered Eidus. And if you would want to change the Eidus, you're not able to change the Eidus because the Eidus are already registered. What do you mean? Asked Rav Moshe. The Bezdin didn't understand what the Eidim were saying. They spoke a foreign language. Before the translator came in here, you didn't even understand what he was saying, so there was no Eidus from that person. How could you say like that? Says Rav Moshe, brilliant. Says Rav Moshe, apparently there's a fundamental machlokes between Rashi and Nemuki Yosef. What is the din in this week's parsha of Haggadas Eidus? Is the din of Haggadas Eidus that Bezdin needs to comprehend what the Eidim are saying, and there has to be a communication between the Bezdin and the Eidus, and the Eidim, and that's what registers the Eidus? Or, says Rav Moshe, that Nemuki Yosef apparently held, not like our Rashi, that there is no communication necessary. And as long as two Eidim state something within the presence and that scenario of Bezdin with long black coats, with hats and fearing these guys with long beards, and now there's some trepidation, even if Bezdin has no clue what these guys are saying, but there's a tzura of a Bezdin that now these Eidim are talking to, that's halacha called Eidus. And it's unbelievable that Bezdin, they'll figure out what was saying through a Maturgamon. And were it not for the fact that we were concerned that it might get switched, it really would have been totally fine to have a Maturgamon. Says Ramesh, you see from the Nukei Yosef, fundamentally, that has halacha called Eidus. And all the dinim of Eidus would apply in such a situation. But to me, that's fascinating that there's a machlokes whether or not the Bezdin and the Eidim have to connect. Or you just need a tzura of a Bezdin, and the Bezdin don't even have to comprehend what the Eidim are saying. Yeah. Yeah.
By Bezin, he doesn't have the Shemayim ready to do that. Why is he going to now be scared off by a big odl? As opposed to Baruch who's, I think you do need communication. The guy's already bold facing up for sure.
You're saying that if a guy is already, you're saying, right. So, you're right. I dramatized a little bit. Rav Moshe L'chayra wasn't saying that it's the fear that in front of Bezdin. It's just the tzura of a person speaking in front of Bezdin. I was saying a svara that, once a person's presenting, that should now have a chalei. But you're right. L'chayra, even without the fear, we're not going to be machalik between a person who's scared or he's not going to be scared. We're going to say one halacha to everyone. But the halacha of Eidus is to speak in front of dayanim that are part of a Bezdin. And once you do that, that registers as halachic edus, even if the dayanim didn't technically understand what you said. Lamaisa, in a certain language, you spoke in front of a dayanim, that's what's registered. And Rashi holds no. It's the edim. What I'm trying to say is, does it have to sink into the Bezdin's mind? Or does it have to be just a haggadah in front of people? And that registers as edus. That's something fascinating that really comes out and emanates out of our sugya of why a Maturgamon would be problematic. So the Gemara continues. Let's just finish up over here. Amar Rav Yudam Rav Ein Moshivim Sanhedrin Elamishi Yoidea Lataris Hasheretz Minatoris. So we saw the Maharatz Chia says that's because you have to have a person that could look for every situation and every defense possible. And even if it looks like a sheretz and it's tameh, you have one person there that's a brilliant man that he can even figure out a cheshbon lataris hasheretz, and he could change that. There's a me'iri on this Gemara. The me'iri says, no, what the din is, the reason you need a chacham like that, a dayan on the Sanhedrin, is because every generation needs people that can darshan dinim and could make sure that the halacha is what the door is, obviously has to be rooted in someone that actually knows how to give over correct psak, but like the Rambam tells us, in the Chala Shofim Yomecha, Shmuel Bedorah, that Shmuel has the ability to darshan as well, and that's something through the Torah, Midrash HaTorah and the Dreshers Behan, you have the ability to change halacha and to say that a drasha that we think is right is not necessarily like a bezdin before. And the Rambam says, if there was a gzeira d'Rabbanan, if there was a din d'Rabbanan, so then you say low plug. Then you say you need minyan acher la'atiro, then you need a greater bezdin to change it. But if it's a din d'Oraisa and I have the ability to darshan differently, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me that siyata d'shmaya in my door, so I'm in a later generation. I'm not bound if I have a correct ability to darshan and I'm qualified and I'm able to be mataris hasheretz ben atayra, so then that's something that could be useful for the bezdin. Amarav, ani edun vetara. I can make a kal v'chomer that can be mataris hasheretz. What's the kal v'chomer? Uman nachash shemei misumar betuma. A nachash, which is an animal that kills so often and causes so many people to die and adds so much tumah to the world because of these dead bodies, these corpses. Tahor, the nachash itself, when it dies, is not mitame, right? So it's not included in one of the shratzim. Sheretz, a little bug. She'eno memis, it never has the ability to kill people. Umar betuma, right? and what? It has the ability to be marbetuma. She'eno meim is marbetuma. It doesn't create corpses in the world. It doesn't kill people. Eno dinshi tar, so the sheretz should become tar. So what? He's taking a kal v'chomer, and he's going against the pasuk in the Torah that the shratzim are metame. So he's saying, wow, I have a kal v'chomer that I could be matara sheretz. So the Gemara says, good try. Gemara says, v'loihi midi dahavi akoitz ba'alma. Gemara says a thorn could also do that. A thorn could kill someone, and no one has a tzad that a thorn is going to be matame anyone. So just because you have a situation that a person could kill, that doesn't automatically mean that it should be matame. So your whole kal v'chomer that was emanating out of a nachash, the nachash is no different than a kotes. Nachash is no different than a kotes. We'll stop here. Hello. How are you?